If you are looking for a vibrant, successful, and strong woman from the early 20th century, look no further than Ethel Romig Fuller. Ethel, a poet by trade, managed to find her own in a time period of American history where women were many times disenfranchised and without many of the opportunities they enjoy today. Ethel was born February 26, 1883, in Big Rapids, Michigan. She studied at the Michigan State Normal School, which is present-day Eastern Michigan University. After her schooling, she had the opportunity to travel to Oregon on vacation with her family, where she fell in love with its scenery and natural beauty. Impressed by the state, Ethel moved to Oregon in 1906. Here, she furthered her education while attending the Portland Extension Center of the state system of higher education. She not only fell in love with Oregon and the Northwest, but also with Charles Fuller, a Portland insurance salesman who she later married. Ethel was certainly inspired by Oregon and its scenic views. In fact, after taking a 2-day trip to Mount Hood, where she climbed to the top, Ethel was clearly captivated. "From that day on," said Ethel, "I had to write about the Northwest." Scaling Oregon's highest mountains certainly had a lasting effect on Ethel, and many have described her as someone who sees a poem in everything and an interpreter of nature. She and her husband lived in the mountains of northern Washington for 10 years, hence why mountains are so frequently the focus of many of her poems. Much of what Ethel achieved during her career was attributable to her willingness to stand up for the medium of poetry, as well as herself as an artist. For example, the Oregonian had planned to cancel its poetry section during the early 1930s. As a result, it is reported that she, quote, blew her top, unquote, and confronted the editor in protest. Ethel came out on top, both saving the poetry section and also securing herself a job. Ethel proceeded to write for and edit the poetry section in the Oregonian from the early 1930s until the late 1950s. Thanks to Ethel, poets from all over the world, not just Oregon, were able to have their work published in the paper. She elevated the Oregonian's poetry section to a competitive and prestigious status. Ethel was also actively involved in the literary community and impacted many by reading her work on the radio, helping to form poetry clubs and organizations, and providing lectures and mentorship for these groups. Additionally, she was a contributor to various pulp magazines such as Street and Smith's Love Story, where she was able to romanticize her interest in nature and America's Northwest. On top of this, Ethel managed to publish her works in 3 separate volumes, including White Peaks and Green, Kitchen Sonnets and Lyrics of Domesticity, and Skylines. However, the crowning point of her career ultimately occurred when she was named Oregon's Poet Laureate in 1957, a title that she maintained until her death in 1965. During this time, she composed poems for state events and special occasions. Unfortunately, Ethel Romig Fuller died of leukemia on December 13, 1965, at the University of Oregon Medical Hospital School in Portland. During her 82 years of life, she managed to secure an eternal legacy that will prevail through her poems and life's work.